The curtain call with my name on the program. The program shouldn't have had my name on it. I wasn't performing, I don't act, and if I did, I wouldn't have agreed to a curtain call. But there it was on the lobby table, glossy as a confession. Special thanks for NATE. I lifted the booklet the way you lift a note you already know is heavy. Under the block of sponsors and the quote about truth that makes directors feel brave, someone had penciled a line beside my name, small enough to pass for a printing error. Backstage left, green lamp, 10:40 M. I make rooms sound honest. I install microphones where people forget their mouths are. I curl cables into patient spirals. I tell boards when to let silence earn its keep. I live with Julian, who knows how to hang lights so that walls look as though they believed in you first. 5 years in, we keep the good bowls within reach and 2 glasses by the sink because we built a rule out of water. Pour before the sentence that changes a day. Julian had come home late after tech rehearsal smelling like dust and cedar and the kind of lobby that tries to forgive you. He kissed my cheek with the precision of a man who didn't want to smudge the night. He undressed in the hall with the politeness you reserve for doors. He said tech ran long. The playwright was allergic to verbs. He slept on his side like the bed had boundaries now. I never see the first audience. By the time they arrive, I've already taught the room the words it's supposed to know. I meant to leave the theater by 9, but a ribbon mic refused to accept that one voice needed that much mercy. I stayed and argued with physics until the note stopped looking like work. When I stepped into the lobby, the ushers were folding their smiles into envelopes. The programs lay in a tidy fan, waiting to be recycled into next week's cleverness. Backstage left smells like patience and spilled coffee. The green lamp on the corner table glowed like a rumor, the little pool of mercy you thank with your eyes when everyone else is busy with their throats. I leaned against the wall and listened to the late applause. I didn't have to look at the clock. The building knows what kind of seconds are coming. He appeared without making the door feel used. Mateo. Taller than the posters suggest, hair that had surrendered to the day and decided that was handsome, a shirt open one step past careful. He smelled like cedar and a lobby that believed in itself. We exchanged 3 sentences and a long glance at last month's opening, the kind that sits down in your chest without asking permission. "You came," he said, not like he'd won anything, but like gravity had kept a promise. "You put my name in a show I didn't help," I said, holding up the program. "That's persuasive." He stood just inside the triangle of green light and didn't lean, as if his body knew the set would hold him and didn't want to prove it. 2 paper cups waited by the lamp like a ritual rehearsing sobriety. He filled both before I could, and passed me one as if water were a contract we might be able to keep. "I didn't want you to hear this from the version of him that apologizes for a living," he said. "He thinks he's meeting me after the talk back to end something politely. I thought you should have the room first." "How long?" I asked, because cuts before counts. 8 months, he said, and breathed like red gel. "It started with rain and an elevator in the museum where he teaches donors the shape of generosity. The lobby their cell's permission. I tried to end it twice. He sent me a photograph of your breakfast with a complaint about our angles, and I mistook that for virtue." He took a step closer and stopped with an inch between his hand and my wrist. That inch was explicit. He chose a language my ethics don't speak. He didn't touch me. He watched my mouth like men do when they've promised to tell the truth and their bodies are bored of patience. His restraint was indecently kind. "Why me?" I said, because someone had to sound like I remembered nouns. "Why this way?" "Because secrets pretend they weigh something," he said. "They don't, once you put them in the right air. And because last week, when you told the playwright the room needed their silence more than their metaphor, I thought, this is the person who won't love his own sentence more than he loves accuracy. Footsteps in the hall, a door easing itself into acceptance. Julian came into the green light with the face he uses on docents, gentle, precise, calibrated to be believed by people who are tired of being clever. He saw me. He saw Matteo. He saw the two cups, the inch of air that had a temperature. He didn't look at the empty couch because professionals know where not to put their eyes first. He closed the door with hinge-respecting dignity. Okay, he said, which is the correct word when the set is already built. You could have kept the program out of our house, I said. You chose not to. I chose incompetence, Julian said. And then cowardice. I cheated. I told myself it was weather. I told myself home is a noun that survives rain. I used your patience as permit. I called the spark I felt structure and mistook applause for acceptance. I want to stop hearing me. Matteo had drifted toward the prop rack the way decent men do when other men need to talk. He lifted his hand toward my neck again and stopped at the same inch. Heat from the dressing room swelled, or else that was us. He lowered his hand like he knew you can ruin a scene by nomming it. What do you want me to do? Julian asked. The grammar of it did more work than any monologue he's loved. You'll end it, I said. You'll sleep on the couch we refuse to call a guest anything. Next week you'll tell me what this was twice. Once with your beautiful museum voice that knows how to spackle narrative. Once with the small words you keep saving for emergencies. I'll decide what my hands can hold without lying to my wrists. I'll do that, he said, and the building settled a millimeter. Matteo exhaled. He walked near enough for breath to write itself along my jaw and put his mouth by my ear without touching me. The heat of it rearranged some furniture and left no mess. Thank you for not making me a lesson, he whispered. We both would have believed you. He left with a nod that neither begged nor congratulated, the door consenting to be only a door. Julian and I sat on a road case, because sitting on anything softer would have turned posture into performance. The cups sweated in the green light like witnesses with alibis. From the house came the hush that means strangers decided to learn something at the same time. I'm not leaving tonight, I said. We're walking home without touching. We'll wait at crosswalks because other people's knees and our better natures both deserve seconds. You'll sleep on the couch. Tomorrow you will end it without complimenting him. Next week you'll bring me small words. He nodded. He didn't cry. I still love him for that. He reached for the cup and stopped half an inch short because reflex can be a thief and you don't have to make it welcome. We stood when the talkback ended and let the audience file out, our bodies doing their decent choreography. We walked. The city didn't add opinion. At the corner, a cyclist skimmed too close and Julian reached, palm hovering near my hip. Heat offered me the small mercy of a moment I could want and refuse. I refused. A man gets to choose the boring tool that keeps the lock from lying. At home, the kettle auditioned and then boiled. He laid blankets on the couch with director care. I slept like somebody who had taken a mechanism apart and wasn't ready to test it. In the morning, he came back from a lobby that sells permission smelling like nothing, my new favorite cologne, and told me he had ended it. He told me truth twice. The museum version was almost bearable. The small words were better. He said he liked being two men because one wasn't tired. He said he mistook spark for structure. He said he could be one person if I let him do the work. I let him. It isn't a finale. It is the part no one posts because it refuses to be loud. He slept on the couch for 6 nights and learned the distance between our bedroom door and our kitchen in a new way. On the 7th he came to bed, and remembered my mouth with the lazy precision we taught each other early and almost forgot. Erotic isn't a command. It's a compliance you volunteer after choosing. 2 days later, Mateo texted, "Thank you for letting me tell the truth under bad light." I replied, "Try it when no one is lighting you." He didn't answer, which was the second best thing he did. Work went back to being exact. A singer brought me a microphone and said it didn't love her anymore. I asked it to hold her voice with less jealousy. A piano at the conservatory sulked in the middle register until I convinced two strings to share a name. A boy rolled a bruised drum to my bench, and I let him tighten the lugs himself. The head sighed into pitch, and he looked at me like I'd invented consequence. A week later, I saw Mateo outside the theater. He looked smaller. Maybe my anger had stopped needing him to be tall. He said hello without trying to own my afternoon. He did not smell like cedar. We stood under the awning long enough to absolve the weather and left without auditioning for a moral. Here is the part I haven't been noble about. I wanted him. I wanted the inch, the heat, the way his restraint made my skin believe in verbs. I wanted to make a mistake that tells itself beautifully. I didn't. Wanting is a sentence, not a command. Bodies vote. Ethics count. Boredom is mercy that makes mourning possible. Julian and I changed the frame of our days. 2 glasses before 3 sentences. Less reach, better touch. We stopped letting the kettle set tone. We stand near exits at openings not because we plan to leave, but because rooms breathe better when doors aren't theirs. Sometimes we sit on benches not because we're tired, but because courage looks like patience if you get the light right. If another program puts my name where math should go, I will bring water. I will sit where the exit is obvious and not call that cowardice. If a hand lifts toward my neck, I will let the inch exist and answer in a tense I can carry past noon. I will keep choosing verbs that keep us possible. End, stay, tell, work, touch, wait. And when I lift a fader and feel a note slide from effort into ease, when 2 strings agree at last the way a room remembers its manners, I will think about the night we refused a curtain call and argued for repair instead. And I will call that deliberate air the most difficult thing I know how to make, and the one that still holds when daylight forgets its lines.